Metal Jesus here, and I am back with John Riggs.
How's it going, man?
Good. What are we here for today?
We have some great Super Famicom games. These are the Japanese Super Nintendo games that you don't need to know any Japanese for. You can just pick them up and just start playing them.
Dude, and we previewed some of these, and there are some games that are pretty awesome here.
Pretty unique is a good word for it.
Yes. All right, let's take a look.
Drive right in?
Yes.
All right. We had this in the Famicom video that we did a little while back. We have, for the Super Famicom, there are 3 Parodius games, and all 3 of them are absolutely worth getting.
So we were previewing some of these games here earlier, and oh my god, so funny! Like I was telling you that probably in the pitch meeting for these games, they never ran across an idea that they just said no to.
Yeah, no idea too crazy, no idea too out there. Herbs may have been smoked during some of these meetings. It's just the craziness, and the music is great. And silliness aside, it's a fun shmup.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally legit.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, but I love how, oh gosh, describe some of the characters in here. I mean...
Oh, there was a hula hooping monkey for a while. There was an Easter Island head that was in full makeup. When it explodes, you find that it's really controlled by a penguin.
Yeah, and speaking of which, there's random penguins in bed. Because there are.
Because there can be.
Yeah.
But it plays just like the Gradius series, and you pick up power-ups along the way. You can choose which characters you are. Depends on what power-ups you're going to get. And there's still the bell feature from Twinbee. Depending on what color the bell is, after you shoot it enough times, you can get things like a giant megaphone that screams at everyone.
That's my favorite, right? The fact that it shows the words.
It's just the words yelling something. Kono Bakayao or something like that. Still super fun game, and there are 3 of them. All 3 of them, I wouldn't put any one over the other ones. All 3 of them are gonna be the same type of game, but absolutely, if you could find any of the 3, I'd say go for it for sure.
Awesome series.
We have, in America, one of my favorite games. It was one of the first Super Nintendo games I bought, was Legend of the Mystical Ninja, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
In Japan, there were other ones, including Legend of the Mystical Ninja 2 and 3.
Oh, cool.
And they had these available too. I almost didn't want to include these because I was thinking about Legend of the Mystical Ninja, and you can go in some of the shops and you get tips along the way.
And so there is some Japanese that you have to read, right?
But you don't have to read it. You can still figure your way around. If you see a shop and there's items to buy, you can just buy them. And there are going to be some people trying to give you clues or hints or whatever, and even if you can't read it, you can still find your way around it.
You know, and one of the things I noticed in some of these games that we were playing is that often yes is the default. Not always, but that's nice, right? It's just sort of like yes or no. Well, most of the time you're choosing yes.
Absolutely. And more often than not, you'll see the word for yes, which is hai, and then no, which is ie. You see that in so many Famicom games. So there's a few words, even maybe by playing these games, you'll actually pick up a little bit of Japanese or how to read certain words. So
that's cool.
Worth looking into. You'll also find a lot of these games, these ones or other ones, a lot of times like even the options are in English.
Yeah,
so
okay.
That's a benefit to me, so.
Yeah, totally.
Love that. We checked this game out.
Oh, yes.
Which has one of the unique names I've ever heard, is a Zigzag Cat.
And when I picked it up, I'm like, what is this? Is this like because you had the other game, which was Samurai Pizza Cat.
Samurai Pizza Cats.
Yes. I was like, is this part of that series?
It would be nice if it was.
Yes.
This one's one of the more unique games I've ever even heard of until I started playing it. It's a...
So it's like a story-driven.
It's a story-driven
game of
vertical scrolling.
It's I know, like well, I guess a Super Breakout or Arkanoid sort of like style thing. But you're constantly sort of going up. It stops every once in a while. You break out a couple bricks. This is the type of game though where someone would describe it like you originally described it. I was like, what? What is this really weird thing? And then I played it and I was like, dude, I must own
this is the one to get.
Yeah.
Again, it looks like it turns into kind of like an RPG element where you're walking around. You can talk to people, but if you just do that enough and you find the door and you go through it, it turns into the game, and you just scroll vertically, and then that breakout Arkanoid technique of and the other one, I wish they had the option on Arkanoid, but you can actually push your mallet.
Very handy. So as your ball or your cat or whatever is sort of like bouncing
it's
up
your Zigzag Cat.
Yeah. but you can actually push your paddle up to grab power-ups or take out enemies, and it's actually it's a huge bonus in this game. Like,
it is.
Actually, I want this game.
Okay,
this game's awesome.
Zigzag Cat. It's worth looking out
for. Who knew,
just,
right?
Who knew? Absolutely. I'm a huge Valis series fan, and this one plays a lot like that. It's called Dream. It's called Psycho Dream. Psycho Dream. You can play as a boy or a girl. It's going to be the same game anyway, the same storyline. It's honestly pretty simplistic. You just go through the game. It's kind of side-scrolling, again, kind of like Valis, and you get power-ups along the way, and you get a lot of power-ups along the way to make your weapon and attack stronger. That's really about it.
That's all you need.
But it's worth playing, and it didn't come out in America, and you don't need to know Japanese to play it.
Now, how expensive is a game like this? I don't know if you bought this recently or not, but if you have any idea.
No, I looked this up recently. Like, this game specifically, I think I paid like $10 for it.
See, that's totally reasonable, right?
$10?
Huh.
Yeah. Cool. Always a fan of Super Nintendo games. This one I wanted to pick up because I'm such a fan of Neo Geo, and when the Super Nintendo was hot, I couldn't afford a Neo Geo. It's like a $500 system. Games are $200 each. So we got the Super Nintendo version of games like Art of Fighting, games like World Heroes 2, games like Samurai Showdown. One of my favorite games was Sengoku. And we never got it in America, but they did make a Super Famicom version of Sengoku, so I was really happy to find this because I wanted to see the game that I could have had as my favorite Neo Geo game that I never got.
And this is actually pretty decent too. Like the sprites are really big.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's really colorful.
Very colorful.
Yeah.
It's just a fun game. It's a great port of the Neo Geo version. So worth checking out if you can find it.
Very cool. Mystery Circle. What is that?
Mystery Circle will not win any awards for most spectacular gameplay, most best use of graphics, best use of Mode 7 for a Super Nintendo.
Way to hype it up.
But it's a really fun puzzle game, and it's a puzzle game not so much that I've heard of in America. It's kind of like, I hate to use the Tetris example, but pieces fall from the top to the bottom. And then once they've attached, then you, as your ship, kind of have to do like the kicks thing of draw around it.
Oh, really?
A mystery circle.
Oh, interesting.
And then that's what disappears the blocks. And then once they start falling down faster, then you have to jag around, more intricate pieces
to
get to where you're going. So very simple, very fun. They could have made this for the Atari 2600.
Okay.
If they would have known about it.
But you know what? Often it's just gameplay, and if it's solid and kind of interesting and unique and fun, that's all that matters.
That is all that matters. So Mystery Circle, another just fun puzzle game. You don't need to know anything about it.
That's cool.
I love it. One of my favorite franchises of all time is the Bomberman series.
For a lot of people, absolutely.
Love the Bomberman series. Most of them have story modes. Most of them have multiplayer factors, and almost all of them always have just the classic Bomberman battle mode. In America, we have Super Bomberman and Super Bomberman 2 for the Super Nintendo. In Japan, they had Super Bomberman 3, Super Bomberman 4, Super Bomberman 5, and a couple of other incarnations thereof. And I do have Super Bomberman 4, and that, I think I actually like it even a little bit more than Super Bomberman 5. Figure later on in the series it's better.
Sure.
But Super Bomberman 4, totally worth having. It's Bomberman. It's Bomberman. You blow up stuff. You get power-ups along the way. You can actually uncage helpers to help you play through certain levels. And it has the animal element, too, where you can find an egg, hatch it, and then ride on a dinosaur to help you blow stuff up, which also counts as an extra hit, so instead of it being a one-hit kill, you have a little leeway for you.
The Bomberman series is one that, for whatever reason, because I didn't own a Super Nintendo back in the day, I need to play more of this, because you hear about it all the time.
Bomberman?
People love the series. I need to do it. We need to plug it in and do some...
Go for it.
do some multiplayer.
There's usually a Bomberman for just about every system.
It seems like it.
And, but yeah, Super Bomberman, again, in America, we had Super Bomberman 1 and 2. That's it for the Super Nintendo. Just like with Mystical Ninja.
Which is
in
surprising.
Japan, there's a few of them.
Considering that, a lot of people love the series. It's weird that they didn't bring it over, but...
And it's not much to port over, because, it's mostly in English anyway. You don't really need to know much about it. But,
cool.
Whatever.
Yeah.
This is the one that you said looked familiar.
It did, yeah.
And it should be. It's Gundam Wing. This one is Gundam Wing Endless Duel. It is a It's a 2-player fighter, like versus fighter game, in giant mecha robots.
Nice.
And that's the way to go. Top-notch Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, definitely pushes the limits. Huge sprites, super colorful. Even the segues between, you know, like player one fight and stuff like that. It has like little staticky, glitchy type elements to it. And it's super fun to play. And it's Gundam Wing. If you love the Gundam Wing series, it has kind of the anime elements of cutscenes and all that, you know, if you love the series. Gundam Wing came out right around when the height of my anime otakudom of the mid to late 90s was like at its highest peak. So Gundam Wing holds a dear place in my heart. And during that generation, Gundam Wing, the way to go. So Endless Duel, mecha versus fighter.
That's awesome.
That's the way to go for sure.
And then, surprise, I actually have one game to contribute to this video.
And that's one game I don't have.
Well, it was given to me by Drunken Master Paul when he went over to Europe. He went on vacation, and he was looking for a gift for me. And he didn't know anything about it, but he knew it was a shooter, and he picked well.
He made the right choice.
He made the right choice.
Wisely,
I know.
Paul.
So that is Spriggan Powered.
Yes.
This is a really cool shooter, and I'm so happy that he got this for me. I didn't know anything about it at the time. It didn't come out here, obviously, but this is an awesome shooter. A couple things I like about it is that, one, at least in the initial stages, it's totally like the difficulty is just spot on. Like we were playing it, and I made it through the first level, and you don't have to be a master to do it. Right. Now there are 6 levels in this game, and it obviously does get tougher. Sure. But it's definitely
it's doable.
It's totally doable. Yeah. It also has mid-level bosses as well as end-level bosses. There's power-ups. There's also this ability where the closer that you get to the enemy bullets, it gives you like this tech upgrade, which is essentially is a bonus. Right. So there's this sort of risk versus reward element to this game, which can kind of get a little hairy, but it's got great graphics, and this game's pretty collectible, actually. I would say this is not really an affordable game per se.
It's getting up there. I looked it up recently.
I know, and now Paul actually got a really good deal on this, but the card alone is anywhere from $50 to $60. Right. A complete copy will cost you 120 plus. Right. You know, I don't have any complete copies, but I do think it's really worth it. It's definitely an awesome game. Yep.
I love the graphics in it because to me the Super Nintendo was all about, what are you going to do with Mode 7? To me, the Super Nintendo was all about Mode 7. When's it coming up? What are you going to do? Like Mario Kart, it was the racing element. F-Zero, that's what was going on. Yeah, you wouldn't have Pilot Wings without Mode 7. So I always looked for any Super Nintendo game or anything I'd pick up. I was like, where are you going to use Mode 7? Let me see it. I liked how in this game, they used their Mode 7 for just like background graphics. Oh, interesting. Like you didn't have to use it for the gameplay. You didn't have to use it for storyline. It's just this very subtle in the background. It's in the first stage. I mean, the scene's kind of scrolling towards you a little bit and has a little like a little fold to it and everything. It's like it's beautiful. It's such a great looking game.
Yeah, definitely. So I have a question for you. Yes. And we get this a lot on these sort of import videos. Is that, you know, how do you play them if you don't live in Japan, right?
Right. And you don't have a Super Famicom per se, but you do have a Super Nintendo.
Right. So what do you recommend to do that?
Well, if you don't have a Retron 5...
Right, so that's what I have. So I was kind of setting you up for that. Right. But the Retron 5, for those of you who don't know, is a really nice alternative. It's a clone system, and essentially what it is, you have to have these, you pop it in there, and it takes the ROM, downloads it into RAM, and then that's how it plays it. So, but you can play North American, PAL, Japanese.
Sure. But the problem with these, compared to you want to grab me a random... Oh, a different random game than that. That's all right. You can grab. That's all right. You could have grabbed that one.
Well, I don't know if that was a bad one or not. Here you go. That's a game I like.
There we go. Biker Mice from Mars. We'll stick with this. Similar in size, similar in shape. On the back, Super Nintendo games have this notch. Super Famicom games do not. And the Super Nintendo does have a place for those notches to fit in. So a couple ways you can do it. You can modify the cart.
So it's only a physical limitation.
It's a physical, yeah. Unlike the Famicom, which does use 2 different chipsets. The inside is going to be the same. But the cartridge itself, I mean, it's going to be the same chip size and everything.
Oh, okay.
So either you have to modify the cart. I would not recommend this. Burn it, chop it, sand it down, whatever you got to do to make those notches. The other way you can do it is by using your actual Super Nintendo and removing the notches with needle nose pliers.
I've heard of people doing this.
And I don't want to mutilate it, but just grab and twist it and yank it.
Yeah.
When you're done masturbating, then you can actually go in and do the... actually remove the notches. Two things I've done in the past. One of them is I use a Super Nintendo Game Genie.
Okay.
And then I remove the notches on the inside of there, where they would be there. So then through a Game Genie, and you don't have to use codes if you're not using the Game Genie. But then once you have that, that'll go in there. It'll fit in your Super Nintendo just fine.
Oh, I see.
I do use this technique too. Someone actually tipped me in on this. I'm going to show you this. Is if you have a SNES Mini. This is the second incarnation of the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
This one's actually pretty beat up. It's all grungy and dirty.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like
yeah, that was chocolate pudding, I think. I don't know. I have no idea what's doing that.
Lick it.
Yeah, a little bit of that. On the inside, and I already removed this part, a couple of screws on the back. Nothing wrong there. The inside here, where the game cartridge would go in, is where those notches are.
Okay, I see them.
I just removed this and chucked it over there. And now I have this.
Oh, because you don't need it at all.
Which, the only thing that you would need it for is now this is open. So unless you're going to keep this...
So
like,
it could get dusty.
It'll get dusty. So put it in a Ziploc bag here, put Tupperware on it. If you do that, that's fine. But now it fits. That fits in there just fine.
Oh.
If I'm not doing that...
And you could always put it back, too, if you for whatever reason, if you needed to.
If you need to put it back, you can put it back. That's not a problem. It's just, it's a couple of screws.
Yeah.
And you unscrew it and you put it back on there. So this is how I do all my... It's actually with this literal Super Nintendo or system. Play my Super Famicom games.
Huh.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. So, but of course, again, I have the Retron 5.
That works.
It works really well too. So there's a bunch, and not just a Retron 5 by Hyperkin.
Right.
There's a bunch of them out there that do something very similar to this. So
sure. And there's a couple of other things like a Game Genie. Like there's one thing that I do have. I didn't bring one. It's called it's like a Super 8 UFO. I forgot what it's called. It's one of those you can save and download and your saved games and whatnot. Anything that gets past the putting it in there and then putting this cartridge on top of it is the way to go. But Game Genie, I picked up this Game Genie I think for like $5.
Yeah.
And this Game Genie worked for me for many years until somebody tipped me in on the Super Nintendo 2 idea. So that's what I got.
Dude, more awesome games I want to add to my collection.
Yes.
So this is a good day. All right.
Always love it.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man.
My pleasure.
All right. Thanks for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing. Take care. It's always awesome when John Riggs comes on the channel. Love that dude. He knows so much about Japanese imports and Nintendo. Always a pleasure to have that guy on. Now, if you like these videos, he and I have done a bunch of them on my channel, so go check them out. Also, you will want to be subscribed because I release new videos every single week, and they're all awesome just like this. So, thanks for watching.